McLean Stevenson has come a long way since MASH. You don't remember this, but I interviewed you 7 years ago when MASH was first going on the air, and you guys were so crazy, we couldn't even use it.
Was that Wayne Rogers and myself?
Yes, no, and Loretta Swit was also with you.
Oh, yes, right.
And it was so wild, and that same zaniness obviously stayed with the program all those years.
It did, really. Among the 6 of us, I think it was always there. It was a rare thing that 6 people in an ensemble piece could sort of hit it off. The chemistry was just perfect.
You've come a long way from playing a clown on a kids' show in Texas.
That was a long time ago. That was in the early 50s, back at WFAA-TV. I had like 9 careers in 8 years, called Not Knowing What You Want to Be When You Get Big. And everything from trying local television, which I did, into sold insurance and became an assistant director of athletics at Northwestern University.
Assistant director of athletics?
Yeah.
You?
Yes, uh-huh.
I don't think of you as an athletic type.
Well, you're just seeing me in a suit. I've got,
what do you look like out of your suit?
I have skinny legs and a pot belly.
Yeah.
But that is the kind of football Northwestern plays. And that's where I was the assistant director of athletics. But I came into Northwestern at the time, Eric Parseghian and almost all of the staff, Stu Holcomb from Miami of Ohio. And we did very well for 3 years. Our teams, I think, had the highest record or incidence of mononucleosis of any other team in the Big Ten. And we did have some individual athletes that went on to become successful in other fields, namely Irv Cross on CBS Sports. And let's see, who else did we have? Well, a couple of guys that made it in the, pro ranks.
Well, you're going to play a priest now. CBS has a new show in the fall called In the Beginning.
Yes.
Are you an irreverent priest?
Well, I'm a diocesan priest, which means that I take everything but a vow of poverty, which means I can drive anything from one of the low-priced 3 to a Porsche, so I chose to own a Porsche. I think by irreverent, no, I would be of the 2 characters, the 2 main characters, Sister Agnes and myself, the more conservative of the 2, the more traditional. Sister Agnes is the more contemporary, represents the more contemporary thinking of the church, but more important than the church is that we really represent sort of a conservative versus a liberal view on all of the issues having to do with everyday living in the inner city or the city.
Now, I understand that the pilot was showed to a number of members of the clergy and the Catholic Church.
Yes.
And not a ripple was caused.
No, they loved it. They loved it. They truly loved it.
But this doesn't sound like Norman Lear. Norman Lear, All in the Family, and, the extreme reactions we've had to many of his productions, Mary Hartman, and All in the Family in particular.
Well,
now, this is his show.
Yeah. Let me be very honest with you. We also showed this to the press, of which there were possibly 125 members, and I would say that at least half of them hated it. You're holding there in your hand one of the more pleasant, stinky reviews. But the thing that troubles most people about the show is that they don't like to think of priests and nuns as one having a sense of humor, having an occasional beer, having any sort of physical or human needs, having had any kind of past other than just going into a seminary or a convent, ever having been a hooker, ever having been a drunk or anything. Now, I'm not suggesting that priests and nuns necessarily are those things, but the truth of the matter is that these people, if in fact they are divined or empowered with a divine power, don't get that until after they take their vows. Prior to that, many of them went to Notre Dame, and like Northwestern, you could get mono too, not just from drinking glasses. And there were many women who go beyond the ERA movement long ago that had social problems of one kind or another, who went into the convent or who felt a need to do more than just teach or work in a hospital or run the paper games at bingo before the priests come in, because the Catholic Church is very chauvinistic. And so as a result, like the sisters at Marymount are very, very in tune to equal pay and the right to make a decision as to whether you want an abortion or not. the Catholic Church per se would say no. The point of all of this is that Sister Agnes and I really just represent the sort of spectrum of thought that exists within the church, but really what exists within a community.
Are you a Catholic?
I was.
What are you
I was
now?
raised as a Catholic. Well, in my early teachings as a Catholic, as you know, the church has often said, give me the child till he's 5, and then we don't need him anymore. And it was predicated a great deal in those days on fear. You'd learn the catechisms, and then you knew if you screwed up, God would get you. That's really not the way it is anymore. I left the Catholic Church very early on. My mother was Catholic. I sort of vacillated. I went to the Unitarian Church, and then I would suppose I would define myself now as an Anglican, Catholic, and Episcopal, Palian. I attend those services on the West Coast, and my daughter attends an Episcopal school.
Well, bless you, McLean Stevenson.
Well, thank you.
And good luck in your new series. It's called In the Beginning, and let's watch a few scenes now.
I'm Father Cleary.
Yeah, and I'm John the Baptist. You know this girl?
Yeah, why?
She just delivered some Coke to a guy.
Well, so what? Did he order Pepsi?
It's the beginning of great comedy. Just the beginning.
25 years in the priesthood, and I wind up getting busted on Skid Row with Attila the Nun.
It's the battle of the celibates. Every week, the church will never be the same.